Hello, everyone. Greetings. Today we are pleased to have His Excellency Ambassador Teburoro Tito, Ambassador of Kiribati to the United Nations. We express a warm welcome to you, Ambassador. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We have had numerous interactions with Ambassador Tito, and we're always impressed with the ambassador's great efforts for peace and also his warm presence. Ambassador Tito is the perfect candidate for today's topic because he was instrumental in facilitating the great conference to initiate the resolution promoting the culture of peace with love and conscience, and is of course instrumental to the successful adoption of April 5th as the International Day of Conscience. We know that collaborating to have a resolution adopted within the United Nations is a complex process. Can you share an interesting takeaway or memory from your participation that others may benefit from?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on this program. And I'm very pleased and honored that I be part of this moment when you are again celebrating the adoption of the resolution in the United Nations that leads to the International Day of Conscience. And of course, yes, my takeaway from what has happened some years ago with trying to navigate our way to get your good organization, the Federation of World Peace and Love, FOPAL, into the United Nations was quite, it was quite a lesson for us, because now I'm better at it now than the first time we tried. And especially, we haven't had any experience of arranging events in the headquarters of the United Nations, and that was quite complex. My staff were also very new, so we were all new. I was new, the staff that were helping me all new, so we had to go around and ask people from other missions how we should do it, and so we managed to learn something quickly in order to get the Federation of World Peace and Love and their partners to go into the United Nations headquarters and start talking about the culture of peace and so on. But I must say that it was good that we managed to crack the rock, so to speak, and now it's much easier now to do things. And we've had more and more people come and ask us to do things, and we've been able to do that whenever we are not very busy.
Well, I know that it takes a lot of time to help represent the great country of Kiribati and make sure that you're providing the best opportunities. And that's really what the United Nations is largely about, is the collaboration, working with other missions in order to really facilitate the good opportunities and make the world a better place. So my next question is with regard to conscience, this idea of the International Day of Conscience, can you give an example of how it has guided you, like a key moment that led to some beneficial outcome, and what that outcome was?
Well, let me say that we had a real challenging time trying to get an amendment to a resolution that was passed earlier by, I think it was Bangladesh. And so we have tried to approach the mission of Bangladesh. I think the NGO, your NGO, FOPAL also approached it, and we approached it, and we found that it was not easy to ask some missions to have their resolution amended to fit in another resolution. And of course, the resolution that was passed under the sponsorship of Bangladesh some years before I started working with the FOPAL was the culture of peace. It was the culture of peace resolution. And so there was an attempt to add words to that, to add a few ideas to it, but it was not possible. And so that's where we had to start thinking, what shall we do with this? Love and peace, love, World Federation of World Love and Peace. Okay. And of course, I thought it was a wonderful idea to have the word love and peace. But again, I thought there must be something more central that from which love and peace, sort of is founded or springs out. And then I remember the word conscience. So when we were talking with other people, and of course your people and my staff was working, and of course I like to acknowledge here the lady we had, a Polish lady. She was very experienced with handling a resolution because she'd been working in different missions, different sections of the United Nations, different departments. And so I discussed with her as well, and then she said, "What about the word conscience? Conscience might strike the nail on the head, because from conscience all these good things flow." And I said, "Yeah, let me have a look." And of course, conscience is something I learned in school. Actually, I'm a Christian, and in school, in a school that I attended from primary, we learn about the faith, the Christian faith. And central to the Christian faith was this thing called conscience. And it was defined during my primary years as the gentle voice of the Lord, the Creator who created us. He leaves something inside the system, inside what he created, to guide human beings to do right and not to do wrong. And so that was good. And then we started looking up words in the dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, Webster Dictionary, and other thing. Then there was also a mention in the United Nations, something like it, in the Charter or somewhere, I was told. So I said, okay, it's not a totally strange word. And that's why we started developing that together with your people. I think Dr. Hong was there too, and his staff. And we say, well, let's pin it down on the idea of conscience. And of course, for me, in my experience, as somebody who has been involved making decisions on behalf of people, I knew there were many times that you're tempted, you're kind of pressurized to go off track or to do things which deep inside is not quite right. But you're tempted or you're pressurized. And it's up to you. If you're strong enough, you hold the line. You say, no, this is the way to do it. And so I thought it was a wonderful thing. And that's how we developed it. Of course, you adopted your people, your experts, went further into that. They researched better. And then there it was. It clicked into position. And so we moved forward with the word, federation, the love and peace with conscience. The conscience kind of the core, inner core of all these things.
Yeah, Alexandra, she was really, really super helpful, and just connecting, building a network together. I know she was really instrumental and very helpful in the whole process, and we're really appreciative of her as well. And then I just am thinking about the conscience. Like, one of the things we talk about is promoting the International Day of Conscience. Often we will hear people say, well, how do you define conscience? And it's a little, because it's something we generally all know, but it's very hard to actually define. And I was really grateful that it was in the United Nations resolution on the international human rights, I believe is the resolution that they had. It was very, very wonderful to find it, because the United Nations really is, for the resolutions, they always want to keep words that already are existing. They really don't like adding new words, is one of the things we discovered, right? So it's an interesting process. It's, oh yeah, they used conscience before. But I think before we were talking about different ways, to talk about conscience and how you explain to somebody your takeaway of conscience. I think you were mentioning that. How do you describe it to people that are asking, well, what do you mean by conscience? So
yeah, simply I go back to now. Of course, there is the GPS, and you drive a car. I thought this is a wonderful way. It's a simple way of explaining to me, and I've used that many times, and people nod when I say, okay, yeah, you're right. And I say, okay, it's up to you whether you listen to Siri's voice, Siri talking 50 feet, 10 to the right, 50 feet from now, or half a mile, 10 left, or whatever. And it's up to the driver, either listen or not. But if you do, then you're not going to be in trouble. That's my opinion. And so to me, that's the simplest way I can explain. Thank God we have a technology like, the GPS. Thank God there was electromagnetic field created around the planets. I mean, these are created. They're created. They're there. We did not create them. So they were created from the beginning of time when the planets were formed into shape, the solar system and planets revolving around the sun. They were equipped with certain things. And then human beings came with a bit of intelligence. They were able to put to use that, electromagnetic field. Now we have telephone system, TV, whatever, the digital, the cyberspace. Utilizing the cyberspace that was created with whatever was inside the cyberspace, the digital space. And so, to me, it all began from the beginning. It was all there from the beginning. It was just waiting for some moment for genius human beings to make use of it. The planes cannot fly without the air, the molecules of air. We thought there is nothing. But now we know, without the molecules in the air, the plane will not fly. But it can slide up. The faster it goes, then the more solid it feels. And that's why the plane is able to take off. Again, it goes to the beginning of that. And to me, it just reminds us, the word conscience reminds us that there's a great beginning. For all of us, great beginning. It's more than the Big Bang. The Big Bang is kind of an empty. It's just an empty something, just an accident. I don't believe in that. If we're all here by accident, then the word conscience should not exist. The electromagnetic field should not be there. The telephone system should not be working. And so to me, that's my takeaway. I'm making it sound very complicated. I study science, I study physics, I study all the sciences I do. Not the specialized, but I have the basic knowledge of creation from my understanding of science. Thank you.
So definitely the conscience, it's something that's always existed. And if we're willing to listen to it, it's within us and it will guide us just like a GPS guides us. Turn 50 feet there, in 50 feet, turn right, don't turn left because that will lead to a very bad outcome. And so it just kind of helps guide us to make the right decisions and to have the best opportunities and create the best world for everybody, ourselves and everybody else. Something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. But we still have the freedom to either, comply with that, instruction or not. I mean, we still have. That's our freedom. That's why the beauty of being human is that you can choose. But I hope human beings do more of the compliance with a little voice, with a gentle voice, because if we all do, there will be plenty of peace, hardly any conflict, we will be more happy as a human family, and the whole planet will work better. You see, imagine all the planets if they didn't want to listen. The planets revolving around the sun, they all listen, they all say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. They didn't go their own track. If they did, I mean, it's a disaster for the solar system. The galaxy, they put a telescope up in the international satellites, and they still are finding more and more galaxies. They're all orderly, moving around, somehow, moving within a particular fashion. They obey rules. But human beings are such that some want to believe, want to obey rules, some don't want to, they want to go against rules. That's our freedom. But then the more we do that, the more chaos we become, and then more problems, more pain, more sufferings.
And it's harder to achieve that peace like so many, because we've been all around the world, and there's 102 countries, and our organization has, and everybody we talk to, they all want peace in their lives, peace in their communities. And so that's kind of the importance of conscience, because conscience will guide us to, just like the GPS, to achieve that goal.
Yes, yes, yes. That's how I see it. But I may be wrong, but I find it in my own life. I think
before you were telling me a little bit about like when there's conflicts in Kiribati, like in the communities of Kiribati. It's not a big nation. It's not like it's not like New York or something like that, right?
No.
So everybody has to live with each other, even because it's a small islands or small islands. So, so like what happens like when there's conflict within when there's conflict within like a community, like how do
The first thing we do, we're all obligated by custom to all help. Even children, they're small, they're told, if you see people fighting, just go and stand in between. So when I was small, I was told by my elders, remember when you see trouble, go and stand in between. Okay, you've got to be brave sometimes, especially when it's very, the fighting is going on and you just try and run in between. But that stops the fight in our country because that's the custom. You also, as an adult, and you go into conflict, and if somebody is standing in between, you must turn back. That's if you don't, you're in trouble. That's the GBS, the rule of the GBS. When a child or another human being standing in between you and somebody you're fighting with, you're quarreling with, you must turn back. If not, you're cursed. They say you're cursed. They say, we don't want to be cursed. We want to be happy. And so that's the way we do it. There are problems, but we all jump and help and settle it quickly. And sometimes we kill a pig or a chicken, have a feast, and then the two guys hug each other, and that's it. That's the end of the conflict.
So in many ways, it's a very conscience-based resolution system because somebody else, you see the conflict and you interject yourself in order to do what's right, which is to help give the people a chance to step back and realize what the better benefit for the community is a good way to just interject. So it's so the Kiribati society is very conscience-based in that way.
Yeah, we're glad that, our ancestors were doing good. I mean, they were, studying life, and they were passing on the good things they've learned in life to us, and we sort of keep passing it on. And so it's a very peaceful society, very happy people. Okay, there are problems, but I say, by and large, it's always people. People are always happy, generally happy. And if not, then we have the dance. You must have seen the Gilbert's dancing. That's everybody involved, from baby up to adults, and everybody there, and the rhythm of the dance, the rhythm, the lyrics of the dance, the wording of the dance, and the sound, just like a little heaven for everybody. And so the whole village comes together and dance.
A lot of your dances are based a little bit on observing the birds, right?
Yes. I mean, the movements, they mimic the frigate bird mainly. And there's another bird, a land bird that walks in a very graceful way. So we imitate how it walks, and then a pause, and then the right, the left, and then sort of goes fast, and then stop and break, and then a pause, and then move again. We do that. You can see it being, reflected in the dancing, in the dancing movements of people. We observe the beauty of nature when trying to reproduce it in our dance.
Exactly. So yeah, just following the course of nature will help also to help you find the conscience and help you have a more peaceful environment.
Yes, of course, we are very much nature driven. Nature is all around. You see, we just the nature, the sky and the ocean and the beaches, and and so and at night, the clear sky, you can read you can read count the stars, and anything in the sky is always open sky. And so nature is so close to us, and we sort of learn a lot from nature, and we respect nature. We have many rules that ensures a very harmonious relationship between our people and nature.
Okay. So one of the questions, and maybe we already addressed it, but do you have any special thoughts about the significance of conscience in our world today?
Well, I think I have to repeat that, what I said earlier, that if leaders, we start leaders, to me, the leaders are important to me. I've been a leader myself. And luckily, when I was a leader, I tried to follow my conscience. If I did not, it would be a different show altogether. People will not be happy. People will suffer. Had I sort of just followed what I believe was good for me. So often leaders have this choice. They're there for themselves or they're for the people. And of course, we will all say, we're here for you. We're here to, to serve you. We can say that very easy, but it's the action to me. And I've seen leaders, I can even read the action of many leaders saying, no, it's not for the people. That's for you. That's for you, right? But to me, when you follow your conscience, you're a leader. Nobody pushes you to be a leader. You're a leader because you want to. You throw your name in the hat and say, I want to be. I want to serve. So be honest. And then in Kiribati, we take an oath. We put our hands on the Bible and take an oath. And the oath says, I fully commit myself. I promise, I'll do my best. So for goodness sake, do what you promise. But you see, there's a lot of half-heartedness. Leaders, many leaders, in my opinion, are half-hearted. They're not committed. I try to be committed. I had some failings, but I try to make up where I can. You see, I'm not a perfect guy. I'm just saying, I'm just a human being. I was tempted now and again, but I hold back. Very tempting when you're a leader, and you can do whatever you want. People may complain, but it's too late. You already got what you want. And I could have done that. I did not, which I know is not right. It's against the conscience, against the voice in me. I knew it's not my father or mother or brother. It's me. It's not my wife, to tell me. It's me. You see, that's important. If you have the conscience deep inside you and you treasure it, then you're alone. You're okay. You guide yourself and you won't crash into other people, and people won't crash into you, and you'll be happy. You sleep well, wake up the next morning fresh again. The system works well. The chemistry is correct. That is how I see conscience. Conscience is very important for leaders. And I wish all leaders of the world listen to their conscience. If they do, we'll have a beautiful world. Okay, maybe some people will be out of job then, maybe policemen, but we need it, because we are humans. There are those who make it today, those who don't. Every day we walk and you decide, right or left, right. Every moment, come to interact with things, you're making decisions every minute of the day. And it's the conscience there to help you. If it's there, then you'll be surprised. You'll make the right decision. But if you think it's not there, then it's your own smartness. It's your own knowledge, whatever, and feeling, emotions will just guide you. And usually, it goes to the downside. We say, Queen Elizabeth was using the word, the darker side of human nature, which suggests that there is the brighter side of human nature. But if you have a conscience and you follow conscience, you'll actually end up with the brighter side of human nature. Otherwise, you'll end up on the darker side. What is the darker side? I don't want to be racist, dark and bright and white, but I mean, maybe the upper side and the lower side. Maybe that's a better word. I like to be on the upper side of human nature every moment of my life.
Well, like with the yin and yang symbol, when you say dark and bright, there's right and wrong, good and bad. It's not about it's not about color. It's about, it's about the nature of that. It's very much, there's a good and a bad, and we try to find the balance point between those two. And I think what you're saying is, as a leader, often it's necessary to be the one that steps in between the conflict and find the best solution that maybe it's not perfect, but is guided by conscience and principles and will lead to the best outcome for everyone, even if maybe at the moment, they still need to basically slaughter the fish and have a feast in order to resolve the differences, but maybe but there's still, the leader needs to be willing to step in and try to be guided for conscience, listen to conscience, and inspire the conscience-based action in others. So,
yes, agreed.
So are there any messages you would like to share with the world as we continue to foster the culture of peace and love and conscience?
I simply say that if you love yourself well, you will not disappoint yourself. You will not put yourself in the wrong position. If you love yourself well, you love the world, you love the universe, you love everything in life, you've got to do the right thing. Because that's the way you really convince anyone that you love yourself. You must start loving loving the creation that is you, before you can appreciate the creation in others. And to me, that is the way to love and peace. Love and peace. It's no point just trying to say it and you have nothing. It's like a supply of something beautiful. You must have a supply within it. And maybe it's already overflowing, maybe a lot of it. But if there's nothing in you, what are you going to share? If you have no fish, what fish are you going to share? If you have no true sweetness, what sweetness? If you have no light, what light are you going to share? So you must work on yourself first. Love yourself and fill it up with good stuff. And then move out of the world, reach others and try to share it. And you will win them to your side. To me, that's important. You must influence others and start influencing you first. And then you influence those around. Then the circle gets bigger and bigger. Here in the UN, I'm influencing more people. And 193 ambassadors, I'm reaching out. Every day I try to reach out and I share what I believe is good in me. And so I believe in connection, believe in friendship, I believe in being social and being, understanding. Because, sometimes just put a wall and say, no, I don't like this guy, they're so-and-so. You should have already make up your mind. But it's wrong, because everyone is beautiful. Everyone is wonderful to start off with. If they were all loved by their parents, that's why they're up. They were little babies, helpless little creatures. But they're all up, moving around, doing something. They must be wonderful people. So that is going to be the way I live my life, and I connect with people, but they're all wonderful. 8 billion people, wonderful creatures, all created and all loved and all cared for by some parents, like a father and mother and some families. So we must treasure each other. And if we're different, let's appreciate it. Let's appreciate the diversity. Diversity is beautiful to me. I have no problem with differences. I take them on board and try. I try to understand more why is this different, and then appreciate that it's coming from an angle I never understood before. But after listening, then we can still get on and laugh and talk and enjoy each other. That's my way of expressing love and love and peace to other people.
And especially as we focus on bridging connections and forming friendships, focusing on the things that bring us together, what we share in common, because there are differences, but
yes, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
So
yes. Sometimes politics is something else. You have to cultivate the differences because that's your base. If it's a black, then it's a black. You must remain, not talk about the white. If it's a white or the yellow or the green. And so politics sometimes can be a problem. But let's use politics in a good way. Let's make politics to coming together rather than dividing people up. And I see a lot of politics around the world utilizing the differences and preventing people from coming together. And that is not good.
I know, like with like in the United States, for example, the focus always used to be on compromise, right? So nobody's completely happy with the outcome, but everybody can live with it, And sometimes that's the compromise and the following the conscience to to actually, just find the solution, because there are differences. There always will be difference.
Yeah, agree with you. I think the word compromise is beautiful because A and B are not the same, but then it doesn't mean you're going to break away and not talk to each other. No, come together and try and blend this. Find something that can connect A and B, and then move on with that. A cannot be B and B cannot be A, of course, but there must be a way of moving together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just end up not AA and not AB, or not BB, just AB, and then it's a comp.
Yeah, that's right.
So Ambassador Tito, for this interview, we're going to wrap it up. We very much thank you for joining us today. Your words serve as an inspiration and encouragement for all of us as we continue on this journey to promote the culture of peace with love and conscience. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you also for having me, and all the best to you.